Regal Movie Masters. Unlimited.
This is the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited podcast, where we indiscriminately watch every goddamn movie that comes out at the local theaters. The Movie Masters today are Justine.
Hi.
Brent.
Hello.
Dylan.
What's up?
And I am Colin. We have 3 movies today. We got The Little Mermaid. And I know what you're thinking. Is it 1989? Is it an animated short that you're watching? No. This is 2023 kind of live action. Also animated, but with computers this time. Long movie. We got About My Father, and we got You Hurt My Feelings. That's what I'm asking you. You know, there was another movie called You Hurt My Feelings.
I saw that when I went on Letterboxd. Yeah,
they like stole the name. It's from 2011. If that counts as old,
that does not.
I know. Why would you? And it's not. Whatever. We got a lot to talk about. Before we get started, we have an email address. We're very proud of it. We'd like to hear from you. If you have any thoughts on the podcast, thoughts on God or anything else, email us moviemasters760, moviemasters plural 760 at gmail.com. And the emails are default anonymous. If you want us to use your name, let us know. But hey, listen, we got a lot to get to. Oh, and we got a game at the end too. We got a new one for you. I won't even tell you the name until we're doing it. We get a surprise new game at the end of the episode. The Little Mermaid, directed by Rob Marshall. You might know him from Chicago. He did a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. This guy's neck deep in Disney stuff.
First water one?
Stranger Tides.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Written by David McGee. You know what other movie he had a part in writing that we saw recently? A Man Called Otto.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, weird, right? Anywho.
Yeah.
And it's also like, I don't know, what is writing for this movie when it's like a cover movie? I don't know how much writing is entailed. This stars Halle Bailey as the titular Little Mermaid. You got Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. This is classic stuff here. You got Javier Bardem as Merman. Who's his name?
Javier. Triton.
Triton. This is a story. You know it. You'll love it. It's about a little mermaid. She longs for life on Earth. She collects
land.
She collects
Earth.
land objects. She hoards them.
I see where you're coming from. The under the sea is otherworldly.
Otherworldly.
Yeah, I get it.
And she collects this stuff. She's gathering intel on it. Her father forbids her to do such a thing. She makes a deal with the devil, or in this case, Melissa McCarthy, as Ursula, a little tentacle lady. And she it's like, you can go up on land. I'll give you your legs, but you got to get a kiss from this guy you like. If you do, then you're good. But here's the catch. I get to keep your voice. So you got to catch him without saying anything. This is the challenge posed to the Little Mermaid, who has a crush on the prince boy. Will she make it? Will she not? That's the story of the Little Mermaid and her predicament she's in. Before we start, I think everyone needs to talk about your history with the Little Mermaid. Justine, your relationship with the original
my
cartoon.
relationship.
There we
with
go.
I like it a lot. I like all the songs. I know all the songs. I'd never do, but I would put it on and just watch it. I love those, like that era of Disney.
So you're a dyed-in-the-wool
I'm a big fan.
Little Mermaid stan.
Yeah.
Brent, what's your relationship with the original cartoon?
I seem to remember the clamshell. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And so I probably saw it at some point. I really remember when Dick Gate broke out. You know, like the castle in the background.
Of course.
You know, it looks like a penis. I remember when that broke out.
And the priest.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, when my nieces came out one year, we went to there's like a princess brunch at Disneyland, and a big reveal is when Ariel shows up. Everybody goes crazy, and then of course there's the Ariel ride, which you just kind of, it's like almost like it's a small world. You kind of sit in something and float around.
I'm hearing that you haven't watched the cartoon.
I don't remember the cartoon.
You don't have a strong relationship with it.
But Ariel is prevalent throughout life. You know?
Somehow ubiquitous. So, Dylan, what's you stan?
Yeah, I stand. I haven't
The OG?
seen it since I was like, the OG. I haven't seen it since I was like a single digit age. But, I stand it.
I feel like my relationship with the Little Mermaid cartoon is similar to my relationship with a lot of like 90s bands that I decided I didn't like when they came out. and they've since gone on to be really popular and important to people.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, oh, they obviously suck, right? They're like, no, dude, like this is this is like my favorite thing. I was like, oh, I didn't know people felt that way about like, you know, I thought everyone was just on the same page that Nine Inch Nails is very silly. Oh shit, okay, doesn't really change my opinion about it. I still like, you know, have the negative feeling. Like I just never was able to connect to that movie as a kid.
Right.
I mean, you know, being like, I guess I would have been 8, and it's a very girl movie, so it was never really for my bag then. And I don't know, I respect it as like part of the Disney Renaissance. People are like, this is our favorite movie. This starts Disney being good. I'm like, you're telling me no one likes Robin Hood. No one's running around with The Jungle Book as their top Disney movie. Just, you know, in a bubble over here. So I don't think I really love the original cartoon. I don't have a fondness for it, despite it being very ubiquitous, you know, in the right age group. And Justine had a lot to say about the film. You lead. As a stan,
yes,
as someone who grew up loving the original, I think that's important.
yeah, I feel like you can't like this very much. Like the whole deal with Ariel is that you're supposed to also experience with her how magical her under the sea life is.
Right.
And so you're like, man, she's crazy. She just wants to go on land. Well, you know, it's a very different message than what they seem to show you in the movie, which is that under the sea sucks so bad.
You think it's
dark,
bleak?
it's dirty.
Okay.
Literally only the part where actually, I guess there's that like Finding Nemo part kind of in the beginning where they're like going in the water, making me dizzy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's the song, the Under the Sea song, and that's when you see color under the water. And
Right.
the rest of the time, it's really sad. And even the posters are a good representation of the movie. It's like very dark, and they had the same problem in Black Panther in Wakanda Forever, where everything under the sea is like, it's really cool, but you can't see any of it.
Right.
It's so
Which is
dark.
probably true to life and maybe makes sense in a movie like that.
Yeah.
But
In the cartoon, did Triton, was he really insistent on keeping people below the surface completely? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's consistent.
He's like,
But it
"She's
felt
not
dark,
allowed."
you know, just like you must be down here. We do not like humans.
Yeah, it's very dark. And so it's like for a lot of the movie you're already like, this is not magical. You know, you don't get that feeling of it being like a fun movie. And the cartoon is like, it's so colorful and
Yeah.
everyone is like,
big old eyes
yeah,
everywhere.
everything is just like it's magical, you know. And so watching this, it's like, this is a bummer. And it's really weird that you like the parts where she's on land more because you can see things happening.
It's just a brightness issue.
Yeah, and I mean, and a design
Right.
issue where I don't know. It's like it's all a lot of caves and rocks, and there's not that many other people, which is another weird thing. To
In
me.
under DC
Yeah.
or over D land.
You see the most people, the mermaids, at the end when they weirdly just appear.
Right.
When they're
Oh
all like,
yeah.
bye, and there's just a million of them.
We're blasting ahead here, but that is yeah, those mermaids show up at the end
Yeah.
and everyone's cool with it. That doesn't happen in the original, does it? What's
Well,
the
like
original
her-
ending? It's been a long time.
Yeah, there's people, they don't like go up on land and sit next to them and weird out the humans. They just like are waving from the
Right.
water as they're sailing away.
So it just kind of alludes to
yeah.
wait. The mermaids wave to Ariel and the prince,
Yeah.
but not to the people on the land.
No, because
That's an important
in the animated movie
distinction.
they're getting married and stuff on a ship.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Yeah, I was really sad. And I think that the music is kind of whatever. I hate how they changed the main Ariel song is like, again, it's like just sadder. It's not like as a emotional part of your world is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And I hate when like instead of in order to change the song into like, well, I'm going to put my own spin on it. They just kind of mess with it, you know,
Yeah.
as if it wasn't created to be sung specifically like this, or specifically the Mencken way. And then they just kind of, well, I'm gonna like sing talk some of it. And it's like, that doesn't work.
Well, it's like one of my things that I think is very distinct to musical theater, or what I think about like Broadway stuff. What makes it feel Broadway is that, oh, what is that thing? What is it called again? Oh yeah, the spoon. Like that kind of singing. I was going down the street and, oh, you know those days when you just want to sing. Like those kind of asides is like, that's the shit that just the musical theater kids.
I mean, it's
in there,
one, but it's like more like singing.
Yeah, it's in the OG. It seems maybe a little more, naturally asides.
Yeah. Hearing you say this, I do wonder. Well, I don't think that the other movies felt like plays. The other live action adaptations of these animated Disney movies, I don't think they felt like plays, right? This one very much did seem like you're watching like a theater production, like with the way that people act and stuff.
Yeah, not in set design or anything, but definitely in like the performance.
Yeah.
And
that's the Miranda influence, right?
Maybe.
But maybe he's like an ideal choice for this because I'm thinking about
he produced it, right? Executive produced it.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was in the credits as executive producer, so I think he had a very heavy thumb on the buttons.
And maybe that's kind of what puts me off of this compared to like the 70s movies, is that it's so like musical theater. And I think that's of the Disney Renaissance, that's sort of a through line with all of those movies, through Aladdin and Lion King and stuff, which I just never really connected with. The way like 101 Dalmatians very much so isn't, They're just talking kind of natural dialogue. Whereas with this stuff, it's like, huff, 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 huff. Oh, Aladdin, I can't believe a street rat like you would present yourself to a king. Like that kind of speaking. Whereas in 101 Dalmatians or any of the 70s, I was like, oh, Robin, you think we should rob that guy? Yeah, think that could be nice. So I don't know. I feel like that carries through from the original into this, is that like, theater.
Well, because these are musicals. The
of
animated
course,
movies are musicals. And I don't know when that didn't happen anymore, when that stopped happening, because Robin Hood is not. There's like a song.
There's songs, yeah.
But it's not like the main thing.
Yeah, it sounds like it didn't hit with you, but do you think that this gritty reboot, do you think that's going to hit with modern audiences?
I really don't know. Like my best guess is that people like Halle Bailey in something. I don't know what she's in, but I could see people who like are kind of more like growing up with her than they grew up with the cartoon movie, that maybe they would like it. Honestly, I would feel really sad if this was somebody's introduction to it and they were like, this is cool. It's like, okay, well, watch the animated one and tell me, like how you feel about it. That would be my only guess, that there's some like actor or something that they have some connection to, that they would, be more forgiving of this. Because the only thing that I have heard is people are like, Halle Bailey, she's so good in this. It's like, what did you think of the movie?
Right, right.
What did you think of the songs? Oh, she sounded really good. In that one song where she's just like belting every note and, sing talking the rest of it. Come on.
I mean, I think she kind of got that like Broadway, like that kind of tone to it, where it's all, and when she's on land, she's all wide-eyed and all of that.
I don't know where she's from. Is she a Disney person? Like, I would guess I could easily see that sort of Disney sitcom singing and acting style makes sense.
I mean, it rung true to me, but again, that's also the stuff that is kind of annoying about the original to me. So it's like, I feel like I should be out of this conversation. Brent, you liked this movie, and I want you to say nice things about the movie, so we're not just beating up this poor film.
To me, it was more of a cinematic feat than Avatar. Because it's just like there was things going on where I was like, okay, clearly the people that made this care a lot.
Right.
They put a lot of effort into it. The thing that I really didn't like about it was on the cinematography, there was a lot of the same shots over and over, to the point where it pulled me out. Like every exterior, you start in the upper right and you kind of sweep down from the upper right back around to the characters. And like Justine pointed out, the motion, I almost tried to mimic cartoons, which doesn't work for live action.
Right.
So you do get dizzy at points, and it leaves you kind of queasy, which I didn't appreciate.
And you get that this is for 3D feeling.
Yeah, I kind of go, this is clearly for this scene is for 3D, and it doesn't really play on 2D, which is criticism that we'll often lob, at movies, be like, yeah, I see what you're going for, but understand that a lot of people like to watch it on 2D.
Right.
It wasn't there. I liked it. I didn't know what to expect, and they put a lot in it. It was just so involved and layered. You mentioned like when they're on land,
Right.
and I'm watching Ariel on land. I'm like, where have I seen this before? She's walking around, she's just sticking stuff in her mouth, and she's silent, and she's like, she's not verbalizing herself. I'm like, and I'm looking at how people are reacting to her. There's a little bit of chaos surrounding her. I'm like, where the hell have I seen this? It's Grogu. She's Grogu on land. Just
okay.
And then just like everybody's like, Grogu, get back over here. Ariel, what are you have you guys seen Ariel? Oh, she's right over there getting into something. Hey, put that down, buddy. Don't put that in your mouth. So that got me thinking, when people talk about Disney, they talk about Disney magic.
Right.
And I think we've all seen enough, Disney properties where we might be getting to the point where we start to try to break down, like, hey, what makes Disney magic?
Yeah.
And is there a difference between old Disney magic, like which is in, like the original animated version, and modern stuff where it's like I said, they kind of like maybe copy paste Grogu a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate in the same way that I can appreciate like McDonald's being consistent, like every state you go to, like that's no small feat. That's pretty impressive. It's not, good food, but it's like amazing that they're able to be consistent like that. And this, I can appreciate Disney stuff as being like palatable.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I did feel that this was watchable, like compared to some things you see, which are just real Drek. In terms of Drek, I think it's higher end Drek or more palatable Drek. I can appreciate the care put into it. Yeah. And I felt a lot of reverence for the original running through this one, maybe to the point where they didn't really adapt much, with the cinematography, like you're saying, or I don't know. It's nice to see people working on something they care about. I got the sense that they cared about this, maybe more so than, say, the people that remade Halloween feel about Halloween. Like, I didn't feel a lot of reverence in that film in the way that I felt in this. So that's nice to see.
Going back to the magic, though.
Yeah.
What do you think? Have you been able to discern any sort of formula that you see over and over?
I don't think it's something that you could just copy and paste, as evidenced by a lot of people that tried to copy and paste it.
Yeah. It's just there.
Yeah. And I don't think it's the branding necessarily, because it's not like a Disney stamp means much of anything at this point. Once, Ant-Man is a Disney movie and The Simpsons is Disney, like just having that stamp on it doesn't make it magic. I know what you're talking about, though. In a weird way, I think it's that competency, and I don't know if it's just money or what.
Yeah, these are all well funded.
Yeah, but
I think it's in the world building.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Like, think of anything that you think of as being magical, even like Mandalorian stuff. It's like, whoa, look at this world they live in. That's crazy. And so same thing with like a Little Mermaid. It's like, look at this under the sea, all this so colorful and all this. The only time that I felt that something like that in this movie is when they're going through the island, when she's eating everyone's food and just stealing stuff, because that is like, look at the people of this island, and she's like experiencing it, and so are we. There's a lot of stuff going on. You get more like immersed in this place. And that, I think, is why the under the water or in the sea kingdom or whatever, why it doesn't work. You don't see the kingdom. You don't really get a feel for what is going on down there.
Well, I thought that Under the Sea song was like the part that worked, And weirdly, I would say, aside from the cinematography, which is shot like a cartoon, when they make it cartoony, like the crab and the bird, I think those are their real names. Those parts are the parts where I found myself kind of genuinely connecting with it.
Yeah.
But it's because they're cartoons, and they're acting like it. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like this whole thing was written as a cartoon or something. Yeah. Dylan, I got to call you out.
Yes.
You've watched more live action adaptations of Disney animated films than I think anyone in this room.
It depends. You see everything with Dumbo?
No.
Has anyone watched everything and Dumbo?
No, I've basically actively avoided all these movies.
Go on. That's me. I think that's the only one I haven't seen is Dumbo.
So, do you like these movies?
They're funny.
Funny how? They amuse you?
Yeah. The Lion King is the funniest one, like to watch visually.
Right.
Because it's like, National Geographic, and then they're talking.
But it's CG, so it's not really.
Yeah. I mean, like some of it like looks good. Like you're like, oh, that looks like a real lion, but it's talking as a little kid voice.
I didn't even know that existed. Holy shit, my mind is blown.
It's insane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will Smith's Aladdin.
What?
Yeah, Will Smith is Aladdin.
I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Yes, aware of and going to the theater and watching them are very different things.
Yeah.
And one man has
Yeah, I watched
boldly
it in theaters, and it was fun. I saw it in a whole different. I just watched it by myself, ladies and gentlemen. I went with a friend and their family, and it was fine. I was like, all right, Will Smith is just killing it right now, and like I don't know any other actors or actresses. I swear they just get like singers.
right. So then
But
I guess
they're just funny. They're just funny to watch. They're not like. I'm not a fan of any of this either. Like if anything, like I've seen Aladdin and I've seen Lion King, the cartoons
but
more.
those are both very. I think those are probably the worst examples of these kind of movies.
Well, which one are you
What
talking
are
about?
good
then?
examples?
That's what I'm
Live
asking.
action.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, the Jungle Book is fine.
Okay.
I feel like the Jungle Book.
yeah,
is-
like Mowgli and all that. Yeah,
I feel like that one weirdly worked.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though like I don't plan on watching it again. I remember liking it, but not like enough to be like I gotta buy the DVD. But I was just like, yo, you know.
Okay, so that was so. I guess what I'm getting at here is how do
Yes.
you rank?
Oh,
the-
you're gonna power rank them.
Not all. You don't have to give me the full tier list, but like how does this stand up against other adaptations?
In terms of like a movie, I would say I would rather watch The Little Mermaid over Aladdin.
Which isn't saying much.
Yeah, and The Little Mermaid is just funnier to see flounder.
Yeah.
And then I would say though, and it's a chore to watch. I will admit, The Lion King is a chore to watch.
Okay.
Yeah. You showed me that stuff. I don't mean to like ruin your reputation here. But you showed me put that on as like, torture or
Yeah.
like ha ha ha, let's watch this. Like not as like, hey, it's a cool movie. Shut up, watch it.
Yeah.
Like you put that on as like, ha ha ha, maybe let me make you watch something that's fucking ridiculous. And that's I mean, whatever. I'm not going to say suffering, but it's not pleasing. So you only show me the worst of them. So I don't know what the good ones
and
are.
I would say I like The Lion King, but again, for what I explained was the National Geographic look.
Yeah.
But they are singing or they have human voices, and you're like, you can't be sucked into this world. Because it's like Lion King, the cartoon is like, yeah, I'm sucked in. This is great, bright colors.
Yeah.
And then the live action, it's like just sand and sadness. And you're like,
Sand and sadness?
yeah, it's just
That's
sand.
an amazing
yeah,
line.
yeah, it's just like Jesus Christ. Like I'm watching again, like National Geographic.
I mean, I think we've all seen clips on the internet of like the original one where there's, Timon and Pumbaa bouncing all over the place, action happening all over the place during the song versus the movie where it's just like literally a lion walking down the place.
They're just, the
Yeah.
OG is.
And I was noticing that a little bit during this, like during the Under the Sea thing. The original is, very vibrant, and every time it's the flute play, the flute, the harp play, the harp. Like every one of those, it's a cut to a thing, and it's doing something silly, and it's a cut to something else. And Sebastian's like just manically coked up and showing you all this stuff happening. And during this one, it's like it's colorful, it's bright. I thought that was, like I said, that was one of the highlights of the movie, and I think kind of kept to the tone of the original, but it definitely wasn't as like manic, I guess, as
Yeah, it's
the
more
original
tamed.
one.
Yeah.
You know who did the voice? The voice of Sebastian is David Deegs, who's in that band Clipping, who have
No
records.
way.
Yeah, records on Sub Pop. Yeah, so him and Aquafina are rappers, and hence they get the rapping songs.
Which was one of the highlights of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was good.
Under
so
the
they,
Sea?
No, the rapping song.
yeah, the Scuttlebutt song, which I think I like that song because it's exposition, like it actually serves the movie.
Yeah.
They had two other songs that are these fucking melancholy ballads, and it's just redundant because it's like, I wish I was on the land like people are, and then the guy's like, I'm lonely and don't have a person around me. It's like, yeah, we fucking know that already. Like, why did we add these songs? And they're not fun songs.
Yeah.
At least the Scuttlebutt song is like 90 seconds. It's fast and like, hey, things are happening. Let me catch you up to date. And so it's like, oh, this serves the movie. This is a fine song to add on to. And of course, they're not going to take any songs away because, again, they have too much reverence for the movie to do that.
This has to be longer than the original, right?
Very.
Yeah. This is like 2 hours 20 minutes, something
Yeah,
like that.
which
Isn't
is
it longer by like
insane.
2 hours and 10?
Yeah.
I remember the OG being like 10 minutes long.
Yeah. This movie felt really long. And
Yeah.
there was some kids that left, or a family that left with a kid dead asleep when they left the theater, like in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, it's like a group of 7.
Yeah,
headed
so it's
out.
like, look, you're not keeping kids' attention.
In all
here.
fairness, it was like a 9 o'clock showing, 8:40 showing. So
There was other kids that
There's
were.
definitely other
Yeah,
kids that
fair
were.
enough.
Put Paw Patrol movie up there. You know that kid's gonna be bouncing
fair
off.
enough.
I don't know.
walls.
One of the kids was right behind me the entire time. The daughter was standing right behind me. Like if I turned around, her face was at my face.
She was enthralled.
She ever.
I don't think she was paying attention. She was probably just like, "Oh, what the fuck am I looking at here?" It's a
It'd be
fish.
awesome if she had her hands on the back of your seat, like Ariel behind the rocks, just
Creeping.
creeping. We talked about, since this is so long and since it is the dark, gritty reboot, you can actually cut this down into a competent horror movie.
Yeah, the Ursula when she kaiju's out
Yeah.
is pretty nuts.
There's just creep scenes that, like, there could be positive music, but like if you look at the visuals, they're still pretty creepy.
Yeah, they
like,
fucking electrocute that mer fool.
And he dies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who's Murr?
the merman, the King Triton man.
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is
Triton?
Triton.
The Impossible Joker? Murr appears and he gets killed by some eels.
Impractical Joker?
One of the Impractical Jokers.
He's an impossible
Murr.
Joker,
I said impossible?
which is kind of cooler if you think
Yeah.
about it.
The Impossible Joker.
Haha.
Murr. From
Impractical Jokers.
Impractical Joker.
Sorry, guys. You tune into our Impractical Jokers podcast.
Yeah, it's a deep cut podcast ep.
Impractically joking with Dylan and Colin.
Really joking.
But yeah, no, the edits are going to be good on this, I think, once it goes.
Oh yeah, you can cut
gets
this
out.
down and make other narratives.
I'd heard one ad for it, like audio, pretty short, but it sounded like a horror movie. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
they used parts of the Part of Your World song, but it was like, it seems like it's like slowed down,
Right.
and it's like, doom. I can get you on land, but what do I have to give up? Your voice. Ha 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 ha. What would I give? Boom.
Where the people are. I hate mermaids.
Hey, don't bring up that joke. That killed me.
Yes. So, no, do bring up that
Yeah.
joke. When Ariel, all the stuff ends, and Ariel's all sitting on the same rock that she's just been on the whole time that she's spying on the prince, and she's like sitting on it, and you know the scene, Triton's like looking at her. And
Oh,
he's like,
yeah,
"Aw,"
okay.
she's so bummed, and he's like, I don't think he's talking to Sebastian. He basically is just saying, I'm gonna miss her. And then he's like,
Raises his trident at her,
And
and
it
it starts
starts
to glow,
glowing.
and then paint just goes to black, and then you're like, "Whoa, he kills her!"
yeah. And so he's like, there's nothing left I can do. Well, there is one thing. I'm gonna miss her.
Take her out.
We just saw him die. from
Yeah.
Getting blasted.
And resurrected.
by
Trident.
the Trident. Yeah. So this is a weapon. And he points it straight at her. And then you see like the sunset or something.
Yeah. You take away the part where she hangs out with the prince at the end, then
Yeah.
Triton murdered her, killed his own daughter rather than have the marriage of the abomination of sea and land.
We can never accept her again. She's been tainted by the human world. I did something that I did like about this movie though a lot. Like I was saying, the part where she's like walking around on the island and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I think that they made an interesting aspect of the movie where you are learning about like why the prince is there, that they have colonized this island.
Yeah.
And he's talking about like historical stuff. That is really interesting. Like you don't really think about, why in the animated movies, like these are a lot of like tropical fish and stuff. I kind of just thought they're English. They're the king or whatever, you know. But then the people of the island are like island people, you know.
Yeah.
It's like very like Caribbean music, and it's really colorful and stuff. That was an interesting aspect. Like the people, you know, are more talked about in this one.
As a fan of just seeing people fumble the bag, I just love that there's this chick who's on the land. She's silent. Her only goal is to make out with the prince. She gets him alone in his room, and he just starts talking about all of his hobbies to her. Oh, and another cool thing about the sea is, like, if you go to this one island, I was here before. It was really cool. Oh, here, you want an anime figurine? And he gives her like a figurine of a mermaid. Like, it's like, oh, little fella doesn't know what to do in this situation. I appreciated the awkwardness, and he's all obsessed with finding the lady that saved her. And of course, he doesn't know it's the mermaid.
And then immediately proposes.
Oh yeah, to the first.
But that was another cool thing. They brought in that they don't say anything like this in the animated one, but that he's like so smitten with this girl that saved him because he hears her singing.
Right.
And so in the in the original story, it's like, all right, he likes her singing. That's kind of weird. But they said it's her siren song.
Yeah.
And so that's why he is like fixated. And I guess that could have something to do with why he's not really interested in Ariel.
Yeah.
That he's just kind of like, no, I can't stop thinking about this other person.
So you're saying that Ariel, when she captured this man or saved him, quote unquote, she like, I'm not going to say roofied, but like she she used something in her sphere of abilities that influenced hormonally the prince to make him fixated on her.
Yeah.
And then she disappeared.
Doesn't even Ursula say something? At some point, she's like, she used her power to revive him on the beach.
Like, what's a mermaid without her siren song?
Well, yeah, and she says that. So there is some magical power that she used on him. And
did we see that?
Well, she sang.
Well, she does that like the iconic part from the OG.
Yeah.
Ah.
Apparently, that's the song.
Yeah,
I'm used to like darker siren songs where it's just like like men slammed into like the rocks and like it's like such a piercing sound.
Because those sailors do, again, it's not referenced in the other one, but the sailors in the beginning do even say something about why they're trying to harpoon that dolphin because he's like, what are you doing? And then he's like, the mermaids, like the sirens, they crash people, they try to kill them, and he's like, you're stupid. But so they do like talk about how these mermaids can do that to people, and then she really does it to him, and then it backfires because then somebody else does it to him, and she gets mad.
So this is a dark portrayal of the mermaids if you scratch below the surface or think about it.
Justine, did you like Ursula and the portrayal of Ursula by Melissa McCarthy?
I would have to say, again, thinking about it like it's a stage production, that's kind of probably what you would see. Mm-hmm. I think there was one thing she did that was funny. When she's like, "Oh, you're the sea witch." The what now?
Yeah.
That was a good line. Otherwise, I feel like she was a little underwhelming, and I did not like her design with all the tentacles gliding up.
I really did like that. So
it was like you couldn't see her form. It was like distracting.
Okay.
And again, because it was so dark, you never got an idea of like her scale or anything.
Yeah, see, I kind of like that though, because like a lot of times when you if you are in the ocean, you're underwater, you can kind of see something and be like, oh, goddamn, how big is that thing? So.
Yeah, but you're supposed to get this idea of her being like this really big presence, and then she kind of doesn't have that because she blends into the cave so much. Yeah. So I thought that was sad. But another thing that I thought was interesting, so like for octopus tentacles, they kind of each have their own brain. And so that was really weird when she's like, where's my potion ingredients? And then her tentacles are like, is it this one? No, it's not that. It's like, you're not communicating with them. That's so weird.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I was, I've forgotten the original until after the fact. Like, when she's like the poor unfortunate souls, like, you see like jars of like souls that she's stolen. Yeah. And they're like little creepy worm things. Yeah. And that was missing in this one.
Yeah.
This one's just straight up skulls.
Yeah.
She just kills them in this one.
Yeah, I would like to see the worms. I remember again being
so cute.
Being an 8-year-old boy, that was kind of like my in on when the cartoon came out. It's like, okay, finally some cool shit's happening. We got a tentacle monster and her evil eels and some worms. I don't have to watch a little girl try to kiss a guy the whole time. Jesus Christ. Little Mermaid. Are we diving in, or are we staying on land? I don't like any of these movies. I don't like the live action adaptations. I don't know. I just have too much respect for the cartoons or something. It all feels very superfluous. I don't get it. I don't get it. And they would be fine if they were like more enjoyable, but they kind of aren't. I know, I'm like, why do they keep making these? No, they make them because they make a lot of money, because it's super recognizable brand and it's something everyone has a connection to. And there's almost a freak show element to it where it's like, what the hell? They're doing a live action Little Mermaid. How are they going to do that? And then you go see it and you're like, it was fine. I'm sure there's people like, oh, this one was good, or I like that one. But I don't know the person that's just like, oh, Disney makes the live action. I'm fucking there opening day. I love these things. I want them to make every single one they got. Anything in the barrel to blast out at me, I'm here for it. I don't know one person who loves them. The whole discourse around these movies seems to be, why are they doing this? But then they keep showing up to watch them. They make so much money. So I can't begrudge the hustle or whatever, but like personally, I can't connect with it. And I guess as far as like an adaptation goes, to me, it struck me as a fair adaptation, if superfluous, but I also don't really like the source material. So I can't really say like they changed my opinion about it. If you don't like the original, I feel you probably won't feel very kindly to this one. So I'm staying on land for this respectfully, because I do think I was able to watch it all. It wasn't like the horror show I thought it was. It wasn't super boring. I thought it was a palatable adaptation. Safe, reverent, competent. These are all words I would use to describe it. I don't think those are bad words, but for myself, just my personal interest, I'm staying on land.
Yeah, I don't really know. I like the animated one. I was bored during this one, except for the scene when she's walking around the island.
Right.
I was sad at the music, and
they murdered your childhood. They killed your childhood.
Oh, dude, they killed your childhood.
That sucks so
but
bad.
Your childhood.
It was your childhood, and they ruined it.
I don't think that was really the main one in my childhood, though.
Really? What was? Oh, it was Aladdin, right?
Shrek.
No.
They wrecked Shrek.
No, I don't know. I think that the Little Mermaid was a little too early.
Yeah.
So it was more like Beauty and the Beast was a big one. And
which they did a live action adaptation of
Yes.
that.
They
Dylan,
did?
weigh in.
Yeah. The best parts are the plates or whatever, because they're crazy to look at.
I gotta catch up.
I think that's not to interrupt you, but I feel like that you're the target demo for these, because I don't think you watch the cartoons that much.
Nah.
You don't have kids, so you don't have any reason to.
I don't give a fuck.
You just get to see the great stories.
Yeah.
So I'm again respectfully, I'm on land.
But you know what I did not see, which I would be really interested to see, is the Mulan one. Because
Right.
that is like a human story where it's just humans doing stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like a dragon or whatever, but that's a very easy thing to animate as if it's like more of a
Just a 3D
spirit,
character.
than an actual little.
How was Milan? You see Milan?
You know, I didn't. I forgot.
There's a live action Mulan.
Yeah, and that came out during lockdown.
Yeah.
So
So they like went
and
to
you had to pay
streaming.
for it. Yeah.
Holy
So-
shit.
I've only seen the clips of that movie that are used as examples of bad editing
Yeah.
on YouTube.
same.
Is it
I think I was
free
with
now?
you when we watched it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
On the
Disney
app.
Plus free.
Yeah.
There's action scenes.
I feel like you're getting your hopes up. I can't.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of if Mulan was just the story.
If it was a good movie, if they did it right.
I just don't think that there's that much that they have to
Hear me
adapt,
out.
you know?
This movie that came out like 3 or 4 years ago. Hear me out. Theoretically,
Well, now we have to watch it.
I'll watch it with you. I'm
I'll
kind
watch
of
it by myself.
I'm morbidly curious.
I'm gonna go ahead and dive into this because I did experience the Disney magic
Yeah.
watching it, which is all I was hoping for. This has nothing to do with the movie, but I definitely enjoyed how worked up people got about the portrayal of Ariel. I loved that. I thought it was just really funny to me, just like grown men
Yeah.
getting very upset over like what Ariel should be on screen.
Yeah, people who I wouldn't watch the movie anyways.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Always my
Yeah.
favorite to see people very upset over something that they would not see under any circumstance.
Yeah, and tangential to that, I'll shout out a friend of the podcast, Giannina Thompson. She wrote an article in Glamour about young Black women getting into surfing and how to take care of their hair. So if you look up Giannina Thompson and Glamour, you will find that article.
They did not take care of her hair.
No.
And that's why it made me think of it. Yeah, they could have used Giannina on the movie as a consultant for sure.
Barely red hair either.
They still call her Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, her hair is red.
Yeah.
Or supposed to be. I think who says that? Ursula?
Yeah.
I'm tired of you, Red.
Wasn't cracking rules.
I'm coming after you, Red. I'm taking life into my own hands. Red, you've gone far enough misusing my spells. And another thing, Triton, I don't like the way you've been running the underwater kingdom. That's my kingdom. I don't know why. I just want it. I'm coming for your Trident and your little daughter. She ain't gonna help you none.
I got a question. How come she wants the Trident?
Great question.
Like, what happens when she gets it?
I'm just thinking about that right now.
She can get big, and then what? She kills everyone?
Yeah, all she was saying was like, I should have been king.
It's just vindictive, which I can respect.
Hell yeah.
But then you get the throne.
Spite.
Is that the whole thing? Because he lived like a very shitty fucking kingdom life from what they portrayed in the
Yeah,
show.
we saw his biggest entertainment was Ariel.
Or the crab fucking Sebastian.
He's sad.
His only friend.
Yeah. He has workers, but they're just fucking, I don't know, floating.
Yeah.
Driven by fear, ultimately, this
Yeah.
Relationship. It's not one of like servitude. It's just like, oh God, what's this king gonna do to me?
He's going to open me up and eat me.
And the Triton like can't stay in a relationship or has too many.
I mean, look, listen. There's a lot of different baby mamas and a lot of different seas. He's got issues in his kingdom. Maybe Ursula would just be a better ruler. I don't
agree.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe like she was kind of robbed. I don't know what her 5-year plan was in terms of like running the kingdom under the ocean. That's never really explained in the first one either, I don't feel.
she just wanted it.
Yeah.
Power. Yeah, I figured.
Anyways.
But I always like, maybe there's like a, once I get the Trident,
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck this shit up.
But why would she want to?
I don't know.
I don't
That's how I'm
know.
like,
You know what it is?
because she got big, and I thought
Yeah.
maybe she could just eat everyone.
I think it's maybe like because Triton is very like superficial and he only bangs out like trophy fish people. You know what I mean? You know, as evidenced by our boy with the abs that showed up on the
Yeah.
the
There's
reveal of all
Wait
the
a second. In your mind, is Triton the king of all? Like, does he produce all of the mer people?
Yeah.
Ariel's sister, sure. You don't think there's separate, like,
I don't know how it works under the
related?
man, we only know so much about the sea. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
outer space at this
There's
point.
scenes, parts we don't know about. There's just one immensely fertile man just laying the seed.
Full circle. It's otherworldly down there, man.
There we
We
go.
don't know. We don't know.
Dylan,
Yes.
you on land or you diving in?
Diving is good.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
I'm diving in. I'm going to hang out with Flounder and Sebastian and like the 4 mermaids that live under the sea and like try and find fish somewhere. Gotta have a song playing for them to
There's
appear.
not a lot of them in there.
Yeah, they're not swimming around like you think they would be.
There's one shark who's just a dickhead, I guess.
Yeah, just like in the castles or in the forbidden
Zone.
in the forbidden zone.
Yeah, but that dumbass doesn't know mirrors though. You can get him easy.
Help me out here. So the shark is a bad guy,
Yeah.
but why would he be vengeful against his fellow fish people?
He eats fish.
Yeah, he's just tiny brain.
That's a terrifying thing to think about, that you could just like as a mer person come up upon like half a mer person because they got attacked by a shark.
yeah.
They're food.
So, you have the carp can play the harp
Mm-hmm.
and man that blowfish can blow. So there's sentience and musicality amongst like other sea creatures.
Yeah.
But the shark is like, nah, I'll eat that shit.
Yeah, that's like the primal animal.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play an instrument.
Yeah, I guess the eels too, but they're like dogs.
Nah,
compared-
evil eels are. Yeah, maybe I'm Team Ursula because I feel like the eels are like, fucking, you don't put me in the band? Why? Because I'm a weird,
Oh,
ugly
you know what?
little
The-
snaggletooth
Ursula
monster.
did have those weirdo little fishes too that attacked Ariel as she was going down to her.
And her like garden.
Yeah, the garden.
Man, this is how you flesh this story out. Have all the little like anglerfish and all the
Creepy
monstrous
ones.
horror fish team up against these fucking pretty boys.
Yeah.
These soft,
Yeah,
overrated.
flounder.
Yeah, all the quote unquote good guys of the ocean. Like, no, fuck it. We're taking it back. Little Mermaid 2, Up from the Depths.
Oh, and there's no
Ursula's
there's no
Revenge.
Ariel.
Civil Ocean War.
They do like Maleficent. They do Cruella. They can go with the bad guys. Tell me Ursula's story.
I swear there were. I heard there was they're making it.
I mean, you could tell me there's like a new, like at the new Disney convention every year, they're like, guys, check it out, Jafar, and everyone loses
I'd be
their mind.
stoked.
It's called
dude.
Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar.
Yeah, but this one would just be
Oh,
Jafar.
but it's live action.
It's the prequel.
I would watch a live action Return of Jafar.
Yeah, there's no Aladdin, no Jasmine and her dad. I guess Jasmine and her dad has to be there.
That would be tough too, because
No.
they wouldn't have to include Will Smith because they didn't include Robin Williams in Return of the Jafar originally, so they would have good reason to get rid of
Will Smith.
Mr. Slappy Slap. If there's any time to do it, it's now.
Who's another villain you'd bring back?
Yeah,
Christopher Robin.
we already got Cruella. Who else is cool?
Scar.
You want to hear?
Ooh, the
You want to watch Scar's Tale?
Yeah, how do you get that scar?
Yeah.
How does he hate his brother so much?
Yeah. How come he didn't get to be king?
Yeah.
That's just king stuff. That's exciting to you.
How does he rule hyenas?
Yeah, how did he become exiled to just rule that side of the world?
Yeah.
I'll just fuck that. I want to know about the hyenas. Just so they're a
dude,
spinoff.
you can have the scar with the hyenas in it.
Yeah, it's just a backdoor Whoopi Goldberg venture.
And Cheech Marin, just back.
Dang, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The deep cut.
I forgot the other one.
He doesn't talk though.
Let's see, there's no bad guy in Lady and the Tramp, right? The bad guy's like poverty.
It's France.
It's just
A
like
darker, grittier poverty
Class-
reboot. Yeah,
class disparity is the
Yeah.
enemy of Lady and the Tramp.
carbs.
Who's the enemy in Fox and the Hound? The lady that takes the hound?
Isn't it like just nature?
Mm.
Hunters. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Bambi. Jesus
Ooh,
Christ.
The hunters of Bambi? The carnival owner from Pinocchio? Whatever that guy's name is.
Oh, you should just watch Pinocchio. Guillermo del Toro's
Yeah.
Pinocchio.
There's no rebooting that one better. But Disney did a live action of that one too.
Pinocchio?
Damn, we
Yes,
didn't see that either.
That nobody paid attention
God
to.
damn it. There's so much bullshit.
It was
that I
one
forget.
of 3 Pinocchio remakes that came, possibly 4 that came out last year.
Mhm.
GDT
Oh,
stole the
yeah.
spotlight. Disney's was the legit one, and the Pauly Shore one was
Yeah, it was the
The
insane
fan
one.
favorite.
Yeah.
Hey, bitch, a pedo.
Like 3 different fucking versions of it.
And there may be another one that I'm just
It's so
forgetting
sick.
about. About My Father is a film directed by Laura Taruso. It's written by Austin Earl and Sebastian Maniscalco himself. Sebastian Maniscalco is a comedian fella. This is him telling the story of his life and essentially his father, played by Robert De Niro.
De Niro.
De Niro.
Yeah.
Anyways, he
Bobby
plays
De Niro.
he plays the dad in this, and it's a very like meet the parents situation, right? I think that's fair to say, given that also starred De Niro. So
Meet
weird.
the Fockers. Meet the parents.
little
same thing.
fuckers.
Is that it?
Dylan,
What?
say it.
What?
The proper
Say the
pronunciation.
thing.
Meet the Fockers, dude.
Little fuckers.
Oh, the little Fockers.
Anywho, yeah, he's Sebastian's kind of talking about. It feels like a personal story. It's safe to call it autobiographical, whether it's fake or not. And he's just talking about his dad, a working class immigrant father from Italia. He's pairing up with a lady who likes a little lady, artist lady, and they link up, and he has to meet her very highbrow, waspy parents. So somewhat fish out of water, but I don't think that's an accurate way of saying it. Of him and his father, and they have to survive a week, and it's a scary situation for them because they're in their ways, and this other family, they got their ways. How's it going to work out? Going to be a silly thing? Is it going to be cool? Who knows? It's about my father.
Waspy to the point where they're direct Mayflower descendants.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everything in this movie is like very big. Like they are
Mm-hmm.
muy Italiano, and
Mhm.
like the waspy family is like the lady's like a senator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got like a
They
little
own hotel chains.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little hippie kid who's just like kombucha and everything's
Sound
very
baths.
yes. Oh, they have like a yuppie kid who's like a prick. Who's like he's played by the workaholics guy, Anders Holm. He plays a perfect fucking asshole, like rich guy, lucky. And yeah, that everyone. It's weird watching a movie where I feel like every element is like kind of a reused aspect of something else, but it still feels kind of genuine because it's Sebastian telling his story, I guess. So even though they're working with tropes and everything, it's just like joke, talking about his upbringing, Robert De Niro as being Robert De Niro, so on and so forth. So it's a very watchable movie without seeming too bland, stale, whatever you would call it.
Yeah, it's a story, you know.
Yeah.
There's funny parts. There's kind of cutesy things. I think I did not buy that they were a couple. The main guy and his soon-to-be fiance.
What kept you from buying in?
They didn't have good chemistry together. They didn't really interact much. That wasn't like she was being really cartoonish. Part of it is just that she doesn't actually become a human being until they're already like meeting the parents, and she gets mad learning that her parents have been meddling in her life without her knowing it, because the rest of the time she's just like a caricature of like, oh my God, I love everything.
Well, she had that privilege.
So cool, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she, like her entire life was that privilege of being able to live that way.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that she's a compelling, partner for this guy. From the moment he's on screen, you're like, oh, this is this is a person. And his dad too. He comes on screen, and he has a personality. She comes on, and she really is just like a vehicle for the story to move along. So you don't feel like, I don't know why they're together. I guess you just kind of breeze past that, and you're like, whatever.
I felt like he explained it, because like she represented like the joy that he aspires to from being brought up in an immigrant household. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, everything like, no, you don't take naps. You can't have fun, that kind of thing.
I think maybe he is played as like such a simplistic, like man, that like, I don't know, is probably refreshing for someone like her in a country club kind of world. Again, this is me kind of maybe writing the story in my head, because you're right, they don't really show them like spending a lot of time at dinners or whatever. He's just like, here's this lady, she is great, let me tell you all the things that I like about this lady, but he's quite literally telling you and not showing you, right? Yeah, and I think just the tone of the movie, it's not like a Woody Allen piece where you're watching them there's nothing understated about it. So it's more
not
about
everybody gets equal time.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe there was some of that, but they're just like, cut it out. Just show the Italianos button heads with the family.
Yeah.
I thought that the brother was fine.
Which one?
The weird one. Well, actually, both of them.
Both the brothers were great.
Yeah. But again, it doesn't matter. She could be literally
right.
What is it? A pretty lamp.
Wow.
What was that? Did we just watch something where they said that? Maybe I was listening to something else. But it's like, if you could just replace the woman character with like a pretty lamp and nothing really changes, that's not a good sign for the movie.
Like if someone steals the pretty lamp and they have to go after the pretty lamp.
Sure, and like he really likes this pretty lamp and needs permission from, these two rich people to get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought she was a good counterpoint. That's what worked for me was the like the darkness of like the we gotta work, to like her just being like, oh my God, I got a gallery opening and I sold out every piece. These types of people exist, so it's not that they need representation in a movie, but I think it was just like a nice counterpoint to our main character. What's his last name? Sebastian Maniscalco? So like I've heard the name, I've never watched any of his stuff, never engaged it, just haven't come across it. But I found him to be really charismatic, and it was easy to buy into the story he was telling and his personality and his character. So I think, if you go just off of what's on the screen in the movie, that character, that she portrays, I forget the name, but it's easy to see that perhaps she just liked his charisma.
Dare I ask, is he supposed to be hot?
I don't know.
I think they do enough legwork in the movie portraying him as a likable person.
Yeah.
This is me just spitballing here. Like as a woman, maybe you're attracted to his kind nature and like, I don't know, but as like a neurotic overthinker, when I see like someone portrayed who's like easy and like positive, I'm like, oh, people must like that person.
Oh yeah.
Again, internalized. Oh, because he's the exact opposite of me. So thus people probably like him.
You know what? It's because you don't wear enough cologne.
It could be.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah, I like that part.
I could see the appeal, but again, it's Tim explaining we like each other.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
Yeah. At least they didn't dwell on it a ton and get into like how they came together and the romance. They got to the funny parts.
I mean, yeah, let's
This
be
is a
real.
comedy.
Yes, clearly the point of the movie is to see
Get some
these
jokes out. Yeah.
Italians in situations where they're not normally in, and like the class differences and kind of taking the piss out of the rich people. I feel like they're like our surrogate guide to portraying the white collar lifestyle, which even then doesn't get too over the top. It's silly enough so that it doesn't come off like a very stark takedown of the upper
Yeah,
class.
because they're not
doesn't need
mean;
to
they're
be.
just silly.
Yeah, and sheltered and like all of that. And the working class people aren't dumb. They're just like, boy, this is different, you know? Yeah, so it's family stuff. There's enough heart at the core of this so that it's not a complete like Farley Brothers throwback kind of movie. Good enough jokes to me, at least. Rapid paced.
Dylan has several papers published on the art of comedy. So I'm wondering, Dylan, what was funniest to you in this movie? Like, what beats did you like the most?
Hold on. I'm trying to remember it beat by beat.
There's 2 penis jokes.
What's the 2?
You counted them?
Well, I mean, it's
only
so
2.
like glaringly
Oh, the guy gets
juvenile.
punched in the penis.
Yeah.
Or gets hit, not punched, with a tennis ball.
Oh, and then the penis on the window.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Oh,
like a
that's
whole
right.
scene.
Yeah. That's Farley Brothers style.
Oh,
With the drawn out.
And they kept, and this is what made Sebastian likable. He could have easily wrote in that he's got a big penis. No, he wrote in that he has a very small penis.
You
which
like
made
when
it-
that actors deprecate themselves.
Yeah.
No, but listen, he was in the water. Shrivels.
Isn't that what his dad said?
Yeah.
I'm gonna shout out a friend of the podcast. You know who you are. He worked with in the hospital and would see a lot of penises. And he was like, "Man, all penises are small." I like the man on the street angle in that one.
I like the part where Robert De Niro had a ponytail.
Oh yeah,
I was
I'll
like,
just
damn,
go
that's
back.
fucking hard ass
It looked
look.
awesome.
Like, why did he do that like normally? Not like in movies, not like in real life. I feel like in real life he'd be sad that he had a ponytail.
Yeah.
But I like that. I liked it when he put on that American flag suit.
For
That was
the
pretty
fourth.
cool. Yeah.
I think anytime you refer to a man as having resting bitch face, it's very funny.
That's definitely funny. Yeah.
And the tennis scene, not so much the ball hitting or anything, but just like because he's trying to hide how much he likes tennis around his dad, because his dad would, scold him for it, and taking the lessons and everything. And it turns out he's just really good at tennis and likes it. I thought that was like well executed, that shift from when he hulks out, tears away the tracksuit, and just starts going at it. My only complaint, not enough Diodoras in this film. The tracksuit was good. The Sergio, I can never say the last name, Teccioni, that was crazy to see, because that's like kind of a
He was
deep,
rocking that throughout.
kind of a deep cut. I hesitate to call it streetwear, fashion brand, athletic wear brand to pull out. But that was a cool touch from the Italiano perspective. What's your favorite? What did you chuckle at? Just stand out chuckle.
At the part after he's like, where'd you learn to play like that? He's like, I got some lessons. And he's like, how much they cost you? $40.
I didn't tell him that it was $80 per lesson.
I really wish that it had just been $40, because like you'd be paid some like top tennis playing Swedish instructor $40 to like teach him how to play.
I will say, when he finishes that joke with the if you ever have immigrant parents, they would be pissed off that it would be $80. I was like, oh, that's kind of true, actually.
Yeah.
As a Filipino with a immigrant mom.
Yeah, you give him the parent price.
Yeah, I give him the parent price. I did not pay $180 for shoes, Mom. I paid $80. Some guy was selling it online.
You did a great sale.
Yes.
My brother and I used to joke. We had this joke when we were growing up, because our mom's a Chinese immigrant, and we'd be like, "Hey, did you see what Mom got? When she went, to wherever." And be like, "Yeah, I heard she just like gave the guy a picture of Grandma and got, you know what I mean? Because like just constantly bargaining and like cannot pay full price at any point on any scale. You could be at the grocery store and she'd be like, "Well, let me show you the hack." You know what I mean? It's like, all right, sure. But like one of the most jarring aspects of the movie was when it's revealed that Robert De Niro, in fact, killed a family peacock for the meal that the Waspy family loved so much.
I love that touch. We have peacocks around here for no good reason.
Oh yeah, the El Carrillo Ranch.
Yeah, very funny just to see them on screen. They're just silly creatures, and it's so funny. Robert De Niro's just like, fuck them. They're just walking
It's a
around thinking they're
bird.
so good.
And that's how they worked in the Italiano movie trope. Is like it's Sebastian and Robert De Niro burying a body in the woods in the middle of the night.
Yeah, because they don't want to show everyone that they chopped up a peacock for their meal. That's funny.
I like that part, because he's like, it looks like you've done this before. Yeah, it was like shot just like Goodfellas. I was like, God damn it.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a fun, silly, lighthearted movie. Are we going to say that about my father? Are we Are we marrying into the family, or are we going to annul this marriage? I'll say I'll marry in. It's weirdly refreshing. I know I just said that everything in this movie is like well tread and like been done before, and all the characters you've seen before in some iteration or another, but it's still kind of refreshing to see a movie that's just earnest and lighthearted and fun. I definitely didn't mind it. I will give away my daughter's hand in marriage.
I don't think I would really recommend this to anyone. I wouldn't watch it again, maybe. I did think that De Niro and the comedy guy played pretty well off of each other.
Yeah.
And I liked De Niro in this movie. But I think as a whole, I was pretty unimpressed. And I am just like, I keep remembering the things that are like jokes that are not funny. Like the sucking on a lemon part. It's just like that went on for like 5 minutes and it wasn't funny. It's like, guys, I guess if it was like a plain movie, that would be fine.
Before I forget, one of my favorite parts in modern era Robert De Niro movies is when you know he was just not going to do another take. Because there's parts of it. I think we were joking before watching it. I was like, okay, he's here to cash a check.
Oh, yeah, I anticipated not liking this movie because it's like, oh, it's a De Niro movie. He's just going to show up and that's it.
Yeah, and there was a couple of moments where I was like, damn, that's Bobby D up on screen. Yeah. Fucking respect. He obviously didn't need to for like kind of a low budget or just not really high profile film like this. He could have phoned it in, but there was parts where he was like, okay, our boy is showing up for work today. But there were other parts where it was like, yeah, you got one take and maybe you asked for another one. Maybe you didn't. If it wasn't Bobby De Niro playing the dad, you probably would have pressed him for another take. But as it stands, that line is just out there as it is, and you're going to take it.
So I missed the options because Dylan and I were spritzing each other with cologne heavily because it is the nighttime, and we're winding down and we want to make sure that we smell good before we go to bed. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie, kind of like Colin was alluding to. It's like, man, I'll watch the Foo Fighters play Everlong. Like it's been done a million times before, but I'd watch it again. As long as it hits all the right notes and isn't clunky. Yeah, I'll listen to that again. This movie to me was just like no new territory aside from, discovering that, hey, I like this Sebastian guy. I'll probably watch some more of his stuff at some point. Yeah, I'm in on it.
I'll marry in.
Mm-hmm.
I won't even go to trial for him to meet the family. I'll just give him the grandmother's ring immediately.
Yeah, that's it. Why not?
Yeah. Here you go, Sebastian, my son. Here's the ring, your grandmother's ring. That's it.
It's because you're not Italian.
Justine, Brent,
yes,
Dylan.
Yeah.
You Hurt My Feelings is a movie written and directed by Nicole Holofcener. It stars Julia Louis Dreyfus. You might know her from such films as Seinfeld.
That really good movie, Veep.
And yeah, that's about it.
Winter Soldier.
Which one? Oh, yeah. MCU. This is an MCU film. Latest entry in the MCU focuses on Lady Hydra as she is in a relationship with her husband, as many husbands and wives are. She's a writer, right? And she teaches writing, like a writing class. And in the midst of trying to write her second novel, she sneakily overhears her husband and her sister's husband talking. She's like, oh, this will be cute. We'll sneak up on him. And her husband's like, it's just not a very good book. I've read it a couple times and it's just not there. It's stressing me out because she's stressed out about it. And this hurts her feelings. And then the rest of the movie kind of is basically building up to her yelling at the guy for talking bad about her and her knowing that he talked bad about her without him knowing that she knows that he talked bad about her. Even though he wasn't really talking bad about her, he was just talking honest about her. They have a kid. They've like kind of blown up like, oh, you're so great. You're so wonderful. You're good at everything. And then he's like, you lied to me. That hurts his feelings that they were always saying he was good. The sister, she's an interior decorator. She had her feelings hurt by people not liking the stuff that she thought she would like. Her husband is an actor. This is some real working class gritty stuff here. Freak out your Bruce Springsteen records here, folks, because this is some real salt of the earth stuff. Her husband's an actor, and his feelings are hurt because acting people don't like him. Man, so many feelings getting hurt. Listen, I'm not going to candy coat this, folks. This is sitting at 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No.
9.5. Like several critics do. It's not one of these like 3 critics reviewed it. It's triple digits. And it's a 95%. I hated this movie.
Yeah.
Not even going to tease this one out. This is one of the worst movies I've seen this year. I feel like safe hating something as opposed to like, well, some people tried. But this, when something is like everyone else is celebrating it and it sucks, it's like, okay, fuck this. Like, especially in a world where Fool's Paradise is at like 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like,
I feel like, we're on like some bizarro timeline.
Because that's a movie where it's like, oh, they were really trying for something here. And this is a unique experience watching that movie. Whereas this movie's like, to me, very well tread. I kept bringing up like Albert Brooks as like kind of the king of slice of life comedy, understated, dialogue driven, character driven, not a whole lot happening in the plot, but like very funny throughout. This movie is like an impression of that, but without jokes and not even like, I know I just celebrating a movie where, there's penis jokes and getting hit in the balls with tennis rackets. Like, it's not that I don't have like a sophisticated sense of humor and this one went under the radar to me, or, I wanted to see like, silly voices and big explosive faces. Like, I like understated, quiet comedies, but there's no jokes, or if there was, they were really mediocre.
I'll tell you the best joke, and you might remember this part, Colin. I don't remember if this was in the actual movie, but it was a voice. And the more that I think about it, it sounded exactly like your voice. And the line was, somewhere there's a theater full of people wearing corduroy jackets. It's just absolutely packed. They're having the night of their life. This is their Superbad. That was the funniest line of the movie for me.
Yeah, it's a very stuffy film. That there's that weird academia level of not even comedy, but just of portraying life where it's like, you really are out of touch with like the world. Like, if you think that these are problems, or if you think that these are like likable people or relatable people, or it's not even relatable. I don't care. Write a story about, people with bougie, stuffy jobs, but make me like them, give them some characterization, and that's, I think, with your Albert Brooks, your Woody Allens, what have you, they don't have snappy, like plot, something's happening, something big's happening. It is very quiet, understated films, but they use that to be able to drive home characterization, and they use that to tell a lot of jokes because there's not like, a car chase happening or someone out to get them. Like, they can be real cozy. And this is cozy to a fault where it's just like, I need fucking something to happen. I'm sorry.
Anything. Yeah. Yeah. There's a part where I said, so is the plot just everybody's just aging? Because that's all they seem to be referencing. Just like, I'm getting
so old now. And this is, it's a lot of walking down the streets of New York, having conversations about, remember when we used to do this? Or, man, this is happening now and I don't know how I feel about it, or the world's changing in this way. And like, that's not in and of itself a bad thing. Like, there's very funny movies where people are just walking and talking, but you got to have good dialogue. And I don't know. It's also really cruel, I think, to have Julia Louis Dreyfus in it, because it's just like, oh, you're doing the Seinfeld. It's a movie about nothing. Yeah. But like, Seinfeld's a great example of like, oh, it's a show about nothing, but every episode is very funny and there's lots of jokes and there's things that come back around. So it's like, you're having this person who's obviously very funny. She's been in the better version of this and you're putting her in this. So it's forcing us to draw comparisons and using New York City as a character. Like, that's very much so drawing comparisons to Woody Allen movies and movies that do a better job at this. So you're welcoming comparisons to far superior works. And thus it's just making the lack of anything going on here so much more glaring.
Yeah, there's movies where they're so beloved that they've just been analyzed to death, and people are like, yeah, well, if you look at the background continuity of Return of the Jedi or whatever, look how like in this, from this frame to this frame, you can see that like this vine shifted over somehow. Right. Okay, this movie is so nothing and boring that I was watching background continuity on the first watch. I was like, all right, I'm gonna see if that taxi's in the next when they cut back. So that's a bad sign. When I'm already kind of like just looking for anything in the movie to entertain me or observe or notice.
Do you guys have anything on this? Because I feel like I'm just shitting on it now.
I was just thinking about how it's boring,
right?
Yeah.
And like why those other things that are like about nothing work, and it's because they're funny, they're well written, dialogue is good. The characters are well developed and different enough that the things that they do are funny, even if they don't say something funny. And there's always an absurd element to whatever is happening. And so some of the humor comes from stuff like this happens, but this is weird. Isn't it weird?
Right.
You know, there's nothing like that in this movie. Like, what's weird? This guy likes socks.
He's
Isn't
obsessed
that
with
so
socks.
Weird.
He's a sock man. He loves socks.
Yeah, this lady, I'm decorating her place. She doesn't like the lamps I'm bringing her. Isn't that crazy? My mom wants the shirt back.
Isn't this process like really nuts that you have to like bring different examples of things for somebody to finally say, oh, I like that one? They just kept going back to that well, and you're like, okay.
And again, I don't mean to fucking be Che Guevara here, but it's like, it's so hard to care about like these people's problems in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you can't have like rich people with problems, but it's like, yeah, you're a fucking interior decorator. You make money showing people furniture that they buy. Like, not that that's not a hard job, but if you're trying to pitch to me that like, oh, it's so tough. Like, you live in a beautiful fucking apartment in New York City. Like, it should be hard. It should be way harder than this.
I think David Cross in the movie represents the audience because he's just snapping the entire time, just being like, "This is a waste of my time. I'm going to invoice you for $30,000."
So okay, this is another beef I have with the film. So David Cross, obviously funny and like a ray of sunshine,
right?
In no matter what he's in, and he's of course like the highlight of the movie because he's funny. And him and his wife have been going to the psychologist, Julia Louis Dreyfus' husband, for like years. And they're like, hey, we've come to the conclusion we're going to stop seeing you. And of course, him being a psychologist, like, well, I think we should talk about that. Like, no. There's nothing to talk about. You have not helped us. You don't do anything for us. We've seen you for 2 years. And we want our money back. We've added it up. It's $33,000. We want our money back. You should give us back our money. You haven't provided the service you're supposed to provide, which is, of course, a funny premise, except it's the Lost in America casino scene where Al Brooks loses his money or his wife loses the money to the casino. And he's talking to the casino runner. He goes, here's my idea. And I work in management. I work in advertising. So I'm not just somebody off the street telling you this. You, and this is a revolutionary idea, you give us back the money. And of course, the casino is like, I'm not going to give you back the money. Why would I give you back the money? I give you back the money. Everyone's going to want their money back. No. You don't give everyone back the money, just us. You give us the money back and you put us we can be on the billboards. You say, they gave us our money back. This casino cares. Like, again, this movie is welcoming comparisons to other films in this way where it's like, that is a very funny scene. That is a funny premise when Al Brooks did it, except he's fucking good at this. And this person who did this film is not good at that kind of humor. Again, you're just welcoming comparisons to better films when you do this. And that's the funniest part of the movie.
Exactly.
And it's a bite. It's a jack.
Yeah.
It's a swag jack. Dylan, they jacked the swag.
Can't believe it.
You know what part really bothered me? It's not even like a writing issue. There's a part where the weed store that her son works at gets held up.
Yeah.
And she happens to be there at the time. And she's like, I guess she's supposed to be like protecting him.
Yeah, it gets into like physical comedy kind of.
Yeah, she's like just climbing all over him and like smushing his face and stuff. Is this supposed to be funny, or are we supposed to be scared for them? Are we supposed to think this is sweet? It's really bad if you have no idea what they're trying to convey in a scene.
Okay, the message I got from that was the film is a lot about lying to people in your life to avoid causing them pain and conflict, right? So, like the son is under the impression that the parents are just so selfish that they don't love him the same way that they love each other and themselves. And that is just, I guess, I don't know if it's for the son to learn or for us to see that no, she loves the son more than anything. She's willing to put herself in the way of gunfire.
But then why is it?
She doesn't do it in a real way.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of played for laughs.
Yeah.
So it's like a good character developing moment that's undercut by her like over exaggerating her covering the person up.
Crawling on top of him like all, are you okay? No, don't get up.
Yeah, clearly that plays as hilarious for people who are not us. The other 95%.
Right.
Like we might be in that 5% who are just like, nah, fuck this. This is not funny.
And not to mention, like, it's worth noting that is the only event that happens in the movie.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie is just, glimpses into them doing their job, literally an overheard conversation as the inciting incident, and something else, because nothing else happens in this one stick up. So the one time something happens, it's just this kind of muddled mess because of how it's portrayed.
Question for anybody. Are we supposed to like anybody in the movie?
If we're not, then they should be more fun to dislike them. They should be portraying as like worse kind of people, like in a Glass Onion kind of way or something, where it's like, oh, look at these despicable people. It's fun to hate them. So they're not fun to dislike. And there's definitely, I don't know how anyone who, makes less than 6 figures a year and doesn't live in the hollowed halls of academia could relate to these people or like them. And if we shouldn't like them, then make it fun to dislike them. It is so just middling, where it's just, taking up time.
Yeah, like the Mayflower family in About My Father was more likable than anybody in this.
Yeah,
movie.
and because at least they're, funny and they're pricks in like a fun way.
Yeah.
These people aren't, they're just annoying kind of. And this is like, I don't know if this is directly connected to that, but it drives me crazy when people write shrinks, when they write them and like they basically could have any other job. Like it's interchangeable with, an accountant or something. Like this guy, if you think about what it is to be a therapist in New York City, like, and have a profession and all that, like you have to have some knowledge of human interaction. And like, you're not going to talk to people as like, I'm just a dopey old husband guy. And this is like, you could take the therapist element out of his character and he acts the same way. It's not like when the son's having problems with him, he's not like breaking it down on like a Jungian level or, bringing up theory or anything like that. And it's like, it's his fucking profession is human interaction and like human relationships. And here's this whole movie that's just about relationships. And he's just like, oh yeah, I don't know. That's pretty messed up. Maybe you should talk to like a me about it. I don't know. Yeah. That's just, again, underdeveloped in that respect,
These problems that these people have, it's like, you don't care. You don't care about the people. Their problem is stupid. Why don't you just have a conversation? And that idea of like the only people who would get anything out of this are like in academia and they just have like a really insulated world. There are 2 occurrences of them in the movie literally saying, I know there's lots of problems in the world, but this is my, like, they have to address the fact that, yeah, I'm sure there's other stuff. I don't know what those things are, and I don't really care about them, but I know that they exist. Don't get into it at all.
Yeah.
Not even a little
Don't
bit.
touch on anything specific.
You just have to say, it seems like you are really having to excuse yourself for how like out of touch you are with the rest of the world if you have to put that in your movie multiple times. You know who I did think was fine though? The actor husband. He was likable.
Oh yeah, just an actor guy.
Yeah.
Ooh, really good cheekbones on that guy. That was like the bright point for me. I was like, look at that guy's bone structure. I really like that. Yeah.
And I guess you could say, I mean, it's a study on the nature of being a sensitive artist, and
No, it's about being narcissistic.
I guess, and maybe
and
where
it's
those
about like people being polite but not being honest.
right.
But everybody in this movie does it, and just some people are offended by it and some people aren't, which doesn't teach you a lesson.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And another thing like that drives me crazy is when you could tell everyone is coming from the same voice, and the writer directors she portrays this couple who's a writer and her husband, and in 20 years of marriage, if you're in a relationship for a long time and you're an artist, like at that point in your relationship, where you stand with your partner, like that's partially what makes it so ungrounded, is like a flippant comment that she overhears puts her in a spiral. But it's like, this shit would have been handled so long ago, or you either would go to your husband for advice on writing, like specifically like the relationship between your art and your partner is so dependent on this person's opinion that it would have informed your work and you would be able to make something that he approves of, or you would be so dismissive of this person's opinion about your stuff that it wouldn't affect you. It doesn't make sense, I guess. It makes sense if you are, just like drawing on a piece of paper and you can create this whole world and the logic behind it. but it doesn't make sense if you try to ground it in reality. And the movie is so brutally, aggressively, miserably grounded in reality to the point where no one could fucking crack a goddamn joke or a haha, that it's like, okay, well then show me some realism. Show me fucking something. Why is this goddamn movie here?
Or, like in, we've seen so many movies in the last year, and some of them, they're just all talking, slice of life, whatever. And, if I don't happen to like certain narratives, I can at least look at like the interior design and be like, oh, look at what they did with that wall.
Yeah.
This doesn't even have that.
Well, I mean, I don't know what good interior. I mean, I've got fucking suicidal tendencies posters on my wall. What the fuck do I know? But I was thinking
I would
about
kill
that
for that in this movie. By
I
the
was
way.
like, everyone's shit is nice. All the interiors are nice looking, but they're nice looking in the same way.
Same exact way.
And that's like kind of
it
meta.
mimics the dialogue.
Yeah, well, the weed shop is all fucking Etsy'd out,
Yep.
and like obviously the sister, she's an interior decorator. Her stuff would be nice, but there's this kind of uniform sparseness and, I don't know, for lack of better words, just like bouginess to every single interior everywhere all over the movie. And it's like, yeah, this is what happens when you just, I don't know, don't have like a broad palette to work with, like you only spend times in rooms that look like this, and you only spend time around people that talk like this and act like this, and these are your problems. And it's just such a masturbatory, insufferable slog to get through, and you get nothing out of it. It's not like it's, so high-minded that it's like, yeah, it's boring, but there's some good cinematography or like a visionary eye of something. No, man, there's just no meat on this bone.
Nope.
I think. I don't know. Dylan, come on, man. Give me something.
Listen, man, I watched it with you guys, and honestly, I liked it, man. It's a calm, soothing movie. Granted, I was in a very tired state of mind, but like,
I walked in on the theater and you were passed out. Before we go on to the theater experience, let me very much so say that no one else was in the theater, so all of these shenanigans are self-contained. So don't worry, we're not assholes like this in the theater.
Yeah, let me put it this way. We all arrived at different times, and I assumed that the person that was sitting in the middle was just whatever, just random solo person. And then the movie starts, it's just me and this other person. And, like there's David Cross appears pretty early on. So I'm laughing right away. And I'm like, why isn't this other person laughing at all?
Because the other person's Dylan. And
yeah,
he's
the other
asleep.
person's Dylan, who is definitely asleep and who only gets woken up when you two walk in and start going up the stairs.
yeah, I woke up, I heard stomping, like a loud step on the plastic parts of the stairs. And I was like, oh, the movie's starting and that's them. And then I walked up, I followed them, and then turned out no one else was in the theater, but I guess I was dead.
Yeah.
I watched it and I stayed up miraculously. I would say probably from all the caffeine from the Pepsi Zero. We're not sponsored, but it was a calm movie, soothing, relaxing. Everybody played their part. Elaine was in it, and David Cross was in it. And it was, I gotta say, it wasn't for me. It's for someone.
Apparently.
Yeah, actually, fucking A, the ratings of this. And I guess it's worth noting, it is distributed by A24, so you got that little stamp of approval on this one for what it's worth. So this isn't like the little movie that could. It's just far too platformed for what it is.
When I was thinking about this movie, I was this is a pointless movie. Somebody wrote a screenplay and had an idea in their writing class, and it was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
The end. And then I was thinking about 1001.
Yes.
That is a movie that is like somebody has a vision, somebody writes really well, somebody cares. It's like, this is my idea. And it's like, yes, thank you. This is an interesting point of view. This is an interesting story. This is heartfelt, and we want people to know about it.
Yeah.
It deserves to be made. This did not deserve to be made. It was really boring. I felt like it was a waste of people's talent, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're supposed to get out of it. Like a movie lover or something is not going to get anything out of this.
Because it doesn't look particularly great.
No, there's nothing. And it could look like a TV show, maybe. it would be a boring TV show, but at least if this whole movie was like condensed into an episode of a woman overhears that her husband said something sad and she's bummed out about it, and at the end,
that is really a TV episode.
Yeah,
a 22-minute
yes,
with commercial breaks.
So if you were following this woman, her whole, I don't know, the story is about her and like her career or whatever, this would be a part of her story. Instead, it's the whole thing, and you're like, it's disappointing.
I really can't imagine you've seen a lot of movies like this that are better done if you're like, oh yeah, this is great.
It's almost like they're telling on themselves. Like you haven't watched an Albert Brooks movie if you thought this was great.
Or I think, I don't mean to don my corduroy blazer with the suede cutouts on the elbows, but what was, we were watching an Ingmar Bergman film, actually like at least the same day as this movie, right?
Which one? Strawberries? What are we talking about?
Which one was it?
Through a Glass Darkly?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, man, you spend a lot of time in this like seaside village. Like even if you take all the plot elements out of that film, like just, you get to spend time in this village. And that Italian film we watched before that, you remember the name of that one?
Red Desert?
Yes. And that was like, if you want to spend time at seaside Italy, there's a film from the 60s that's like showing you around. And I've come to really appreciate watching older movies like that, where it's like, man, it's like you get to travel to a different place. You get to spend time in a different world. So 40 years from now, if you want to get an experience of what New York City was like in the 2020s, you can watch this film. And there's a lot of New York City walking around on the streets in the parks. So that's the best silver lining I could come up with is, at least you get to spend time in the city, which for us is not that impressive. But for future generations, they can't come back to the 20s. So, I mean, that's...
when that sock store closes...
Right?
You're going to be like, where's some footage?
Yeah, I want to see footage.
Walk through.
Yeah, you like seeing footage of your town 40, 50 years ago from the news or whatever. Like, this is footage of New York City from the time. So I take it back. This is a great movie.
The sound you just heard was Colin actually trying to polish a turd.
So you hurt my feelings. Did your feelings get hurt? Or is it impossible to hurt your feelings because of the uproarious laughter that you're feeling during this comedy? This movie hurt my feelings. Did not enjoy it. If this was like a student film or it was like against all odds, they're just learning the craft, I'd be like, good shot. Maybe down the line you'll do something. But given the context of it, being in the theater, having stars behind it, having, the goddamn A24 seal of approval, it's like having the critics just gushing over this fucking thing. I am repulsed by this film, and it makes me think it's like one of the worst movies I've seen all year.
I wish this movie had hurt my feelings so that I could feel something about this movie. Yeah. There was no benefit to it existing except paychecks, I guess, for David Cross.
David Cross gets second billing in this movie on like a lot of things.
He's there for like 5 minutes total.
If that, full screen time.
Yeah.
But, in all fairness, best part of the movie, so.
Please come watch this movie. David Cross is in it. It's funny, I swear.
Yeah, you didn't hurt my feelings. You stole my time. And I'm not a passionate hater about this because I'll forget it by tomorrow. It happened. Let's have it never happen again, and then move on. Yeah, it's a bummer because I went into this one really excited. I thought this was going to be the highlight of the three that we saw this weekend.
Listen, you have a text from me that says, let's watch this one last. It'll be like dessert. Yeah. That was my quote. Because I like movies like this when they're well done. And
Dreyfus is a killer.
Of course.
In other
beloved.
roles. Yeah. Like Veep is one of the ones where like I tend to not like binge watch stuff like a lot of people do, but that one I couldn't help it because I was like, this is so goddamn funny.
Right.
So yeah, bummer.
This movie didn't hurt my feelings. It stole my heart. Marvel sucks. Marvel sucks. Marvel sucks. I did like the movie. Go ahead and watch it. If you're like into just relaxing, like distant piano or guitar, acoustic guitar playing.
I forgot about like the 8-minute stretches of this movie where there's just silence. No score at all.
Emptiness, but just dialogue. But the music was good when they were played in between the scenes, and I was relaxed. If you're a crazy brain person that's like hectic in the head like constantly, and you just want to like calm down, I feel like this is the movie, realistically.
This movie is a white noise machine.
Yeah, because it's like nothing's happening. Because
That's straighter than the movie.
It's straight up like it's just dialogue with no like real score, like you said. You can kind of just tune it out, and then it's just like two people talking or whatever, relaxing.
I got a game for you guys. Who here is familiar with the work of Alison Bechdel? She's a cartoonist. You know, I kind of was recently just ruminating on this idea that we have the Bechdel Test, right? And for those not familiar, the rules of the Bechdel Test, as outlined in a 80s Alison Bechdel comic strip, is the movie has to have at least 2 named women in it. The women have to talk to each other, and they need to talk to each other about something besides a man. It's called the Bechdel Test. And of course, it's like, has kind of legs of its own. But I think it's really interesting that such a ubiquitous piece of pop culture comes from a comic book. I mean, not a comic book like funny pages, but a comic strip, like a cartoonist. You guys read like Are You My Mother, the graphic novels?
I haven't.
They're like really good. She's like very talented cartoonist, but her, I think, name, even though those are like, they're in every library and like taught in schools and shit, but they're still overshadowed by this, idea of the Bechdel test, which I should say she got from her friend Liz Wallace, which he says in the comic strip even. It's like they're in paper, but man, people just took it as the Bechdel test. But I just think it's so cool that a cartoonist is responsible for this. Like scripts have been rewritten because of a comic strip gag in the 80s. And so it is under that rumination that I present to you Bechdel's Bangers. I'm going to give you 4 films, and you are going to guess which one passes the Bechdel test, which again is there has to be
2 named women.
2 named women to talk to each other. A conversation about something that isn't a man. I'm going to present to you 4 films. One of them is Bechdel's Bangers.
One banger.
There's a banger in this. 2022. Is it Clerks 3, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, Bros, or Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio? This is from our most active year in cinema. Which of these 4 films is a Bechdel banger certified? Clerks 3, Elvis, Bros, or Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio?
What was the second one?
Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. That's the one that's the movie I'm always playing.
Yeah.
You just hear like Elvis songs. I'm not playing these records. I'm playing the movie. So you probably have heard it a lot. Even if you haven't seen the movie, it's just like ambient.
Yeah. That's
It's
why
around
I
the house.
it didn't register when you said it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, instead of calling it Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, I'll just say the movie I'm always playing around the house.
I'm going to say Bros.
You say Bros is the Bechdel banger.
Bros, no elaboration.
Dylan?
Bros.
Unanimously, Bros is the Bechdel banger.
Really?
Yeah, because there's 2 women that have to solve things in that movie.
Yeah? I forgot that movie.
I only saw Pinocchio out of this batch.
You didn't see Bros?
No.
It was just us 3.
Yeah.
Oh, Bros went to see the Bros. Yeah.
Yeah, Bros
because
night
like
out.
there was like all kinds of things going on. I think it was on an island. Was it on Fire Island or?
No, that's the other one. That was the
that's a
better
different-
version.
Damn, dude.
Bros is the one with Billy on the Street and some other guy.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're dating.
Yeah.
Damn, that I got lucky on that one. 'Cause I was thinking of Fire Island.
Yeah, I think it is. I do think it's funny. The other ones did not pass the Bechdel test. Only one certified Bechdel banger.
I'm not surprised that Elvis didn't.
Well, let's see if your memories can go back 25 years.
Okay.
For the record, I am going off of, there is a website called BechdelTest.com, and it just has a pass or fail next to each movie from each year.
Love it.
And there's like discussions where people kind of argue over it. It's like, no, these 2 people argue. Like there was I was almost put on Banshees of Inisherin, which according to BechdelTest.com does not pass.
Yeah.
But there's a lively discussion because of the gossip lady, the post office lady. She talks about.
She's not named though.
She has a name.
Oh,
Yeah.
did it have to be named in the film or in the credits or like where do we put the
See,
delineation?
this is where I feel like she's named because they talk about her.
Yeah,
like,
they talk about her.
Okay.
Again, there's shades of gray to the Bechdel test, but based off of the same data set, we're taking it back to 1997. Which of these is the certified Bechdel banger? You got Batman and Robin, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, Gattaca, or Donnie Brasco. Each equally beloved film from its era. 1997. Is it Batman and Robin, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, Gattaca, or Donnie Brasco?
Which one's Gattaca?
Ethan Hawke, yeah.
Thurman. It's like a futuristic thing.
Oh, okay.
Got the great line about not.
I never saved anything for the swim back.
Yeah, exactly.
Power Rangers Turbo.
I loved that fucking movie so much when it came out.
That is one of the entries of Jude Law crawling around.
Ooh, good pull.
Good point. I'm also going to say Power Rangers Turbo.
I'll say Donnie Brasco.
You would be wrong. They would be right. It is Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. Obviously, I just picked that. That's me shooting at Batman's symbol there because I just think it's so funny to say to see that passing the Bechdel test in these other movies.
I think in Donnie Brasco, there's like only one woman.
Yeah.
That's another movie I really like. I don't feel like I'm ruffling any feathers with that one. 1985, the golden age of horror. We have 4 horror films. Only one is a certified Bechdel banger. Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. That is the full title of the film. You got to love it. Fright Night, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Or the horror film Back to the Future. Which of these is the certified Bechdel banger?
Howling 2.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Say Howling, I'll say.
The real feminist of the group is obviously Brent because he's right again. It's Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Passes the Bechdel test.
When does it happen then? When does it happen?
When? Timestamp.
Because the guy and this girl.
And then they just talk about Freddy.
Oh, you know what? I guess the guy's mom and his sister could have talked about.
Yeah, anytime you have like an ensemble cast and they got to get through a harrowing situation like Fire Island, that's when you actually do have a Bechdel banger.
And it's interesting to note that beloved film Back to the Future. Apparently a Bechdel flop.
Those women.
1977, the dawn of punk.
All right. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Which of these 4 films, of which there is only one, is the certified Bechdel banger? Is it The Hills Have Eyes, Eraserhead, ABBA, the movie, or Pumping Iron? Which one passes the Bechdel test? Also, fucking what a wild ass year for movies.
I would normally say ABBA.
There's 2 women.
Yeah, but they may be talking about the men.
They're chatting. Oh, Bjorn's a fucking asshole. Yeah, fuck Bjorn.
Hills Have Eyes.
That's the logic I've been using, but I'm gonna change it up this time, and I'm gonna go with ABBA.
Read it to me one more time. There's
The Hills Have Eyes.
Uh-huh.
Eraserhead, ABBA, the movie, or Pumping Iron. You guys ever seen the ABBA movie?
No.
Fucking awesome.
probably The Hills Have Eyes.
Brent, you are no longer the real feminist. It's Hills Have Eyes.
I am
That's the one.
It's
where
because I changed my logic.
Exactly. You let the patriarchy win. 2002. Is it 8 Mile? XXX with Vin Diesel, legend, and a hate breed song. Is it Spider-Man from beloved feminist director Sam Raimi? Or is it Ghost Ship, the one where everyone gets their necks cut off by a cable in the opening?
What's the first movie?
The first movie is 8 Mile. The second movie is XXX starring Vin Diesel and Hatebreed. The third movie is Spider-Man. And the last is Ghost Ship. 2002 was a cool year too, I think. This is the year when trash is fucking chef's kiss.
Oh, okay.
This is all top shelf trash.
8 Mile.
I love that you mentioned Hatebreed because Jamie can't go an entire episode of his podcast without mentioning that he had a song in XXX, so that's really awesome.
Fucking hard song. Controversially, my favorite Hatebreed album.
I'm going to go back to what has delivered me 3 wins so far. I'm going to go Ghost Ship.
I would assume Ghost Ship.
8 Mile.
Dylan, your inclusion into the feminist club is broken. The answer is ghost ship.
Oh,
Passes the Bechdel test while the others do not.
They probably talk about ghosts.
That's like what my logic has been. Is just like, yeah, you got women, but they have to be in a stressful situation where they have to not talk about a man. Yeah, it's weird.
You're Mary. You're the maid here, right? I'm a lady too. There was a ghost once, right? Yep, scary old ghost.
I feel like it would be.
Fair enough.
You need to go up these stairs. Okay, the water's coming that way.
Technically not
The
about
end.
a man.
Just seeing you are removed from this question, but which do you remember the movie in the original comic strip that they're talking about as passing the test?
Oh, what movie they were talking about?
Yeah, the
I
last
thought you were talking
one.
about a movie that references the
No,
Bechdel
in the
test.
Bechdel test, in the comic strip of which is the namesake. They're like, the last movie I saw that passes that reads this criteria was Alien. And they're like, yeah, they the two ladies, they get together and they talk about the monster. Yeah. Anyways,
This is okay, but yeah, but Alien 2, that's another thing where it's just women under stress that
Yeah.
have to talk about something other than a man. Can we? Yeah, like dang.
so little food for thought for you to chew on as we get into Bechdel's bangers. But this is the first successful run. I liked it. It was fun. Apparently a little easy to get, but still.
Oh, we were saying, did the Little Mermaid pass?
Oh, the new one?
Yeah. Oh, and then we said there's a scene where there was like a shipwreck, and the sisters, who are one of the more interesting parts of the movie, were like, "Look at all this debris."
Yeah. Humans are the worst.
Just polluting all this
So
stuff.
that's where they pass it.
And they are
is,
technically named because in the beginning, Trident's like Sea Athena,
Yeah.
Oceana,
Yeah.
Waterella.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure those are their names.
Yeah, I think
So they have names,
Yes.
and they are talking about something.
Trash.
Yeah, they're talking about garbage in the sea and how shitty humans are. Technically half man, because that's humanity.
Yeah,
like
because the
half
scene
men.
you would think about would be like where is it the queen? Who's in charge of the island?
Queen,
The queen, yeah,
Sure.
is talking to other women, but it's about
the
Eric.
prince. And
Yeah.
there's a scene where the two like handmaids are like cleaning up Ariel because she got washed up on the shore.
Uh-huh.
But there's like the main handmaiden and then the other one who doesn't
Doesn't
have a name, not a character.
Dang.
So yeah, by the fin of its teeth, Little Mermaid passes the Bechdel
Ew.
test. Fun stuff to think about.
Depressing to think about.
So obviously, yeah, that is the overwhelming point, is that all the movies for every Bechdel banger, there is some beloved films that don't pass the test. Dylan,
Yes.
what are we watching next week, bro?
Unlimited.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited. We return to the Spider-Verse with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We also go to the stand-up world with The Machine featuring Bert, Something, and Luke Skywalker. Then we check under the bed for the Boogeyman in The Boogeyman. Anyway guys, see you guys at the movies. Bye.